sharing tips, stories, and inspiration all about living, working, and exploring in Bali.
We are your hosts, Sarah and Olivia, and you're listening to the Living in Bali podcast.
Hey, welcome to the Living in Bali podcast. I am Sarah.
And I'm Olivia, and this is our very first podcast.
Yeah, we haven't done this before. I've worked on podcasts before, but this is the first time we've heard our voices. It's a little scary, but we're excited, right?
We're excited. I heard a lot of podcasts before, so I'm excited to start this podcast project.
Yeah, so how did this all happen? Can you get us started, Olivia?
Sure. It started a few months ago. We just got back from our trip in Japan, and we were eating in this Japanese restaurant, talking about how we both have this wanderlust nature of traveling. And then we were also talking about like how we end up in Bali, because we both are not originally from Bali. I'm from Sumatra and Sarah is from Michigan, but we just happen to be here. And we also know that a lot of people want to live in Bali. They just travel to Bali and they end up want to live in Bali, or a lot of people to like listen or hear about how beautiful the island and want to give it a try. So
it just kind of sucks a lot of people in.
Yeah, it has this it's a very livable place in Bali, and we want to share to people or listener how it is actually living in Bali. And I remember we had a conversations about the most famous movie/book.
Oh yeah, I bet it's already coming to people's minds. Like this is like usually when people think of Bali, a lot of the time it's Eat, Pray, Love.
That's it.
By Elizabeth Gilbert.
Yeah, so most people think that living in Bali is kind of like Eat, Pray, Love moment, where you come to like holiday island, and then you find yourself, and then you find your lover too at the same time, which might happen, but
maybe for some people.
For some people, that's true. For me, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. You're having your own Elizabeth Gilbert moment.
Not totally exactly.
Not quite. No.
Not quite. But I mean, yeah. And anyway, we found also a lot of Bali is more than Eat, Pray, Love. We met a lot of different people from different various of background of career, background of family, or background of cultures, and they're all very interesting people.
Yeah, it's quite a melting pot here, and there's so many different initiatives. There's people working on all kinds of really cool businesses and projects. They come to Bali to find inspiration.
Right.
Or maybe they didn't come here to find inspiration and they just found it anyways.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting place to meet people, and I think a lot of the people that we've met and talked to have stories to tell that are better than Eat, Pray, Love. Like it's so much bigger, so much better. There's like a vision involved. There's like goodwill. There's sustainability. It's really exciting, and just talking about it gets me excited. So. But we'll keep it moving.
Yeah, because Bali, you met a lot of people, and they have these stories of life that could be turned into a movie. It's just not everyone get to know their story if we are not retelling people about their story. So that's what we're doing it here. We want to, make you know about what people in Bali experience and what are they doing. And most of the people here are very, very interesting background, and
it's a lot of inspiration.
It's a lot of inspirations. That's
we're just curious people. I think especially you're really really good at asking questions and bringing things out of people.
So.
And it's kind of rubbed off on me a little bit, and it's just so much fun to ask people more about themselves, and the podcast gives us an excuse to do that and share it with you guys.
Yeah, so maybe I can start being curious with Sarah first, now that she mentioned that I'm a curious person and like to roll up questions. So Sarah, I know you're from Michigan. Is West coast? Midwest?
Midwest, yeah. We're surrounded by the Great Lakes.
Okay. So, but how did you end up here? It's so far away from the U.S.
It is really far, and honestly, I haven't met a lot of Americans here. Actually, lately I've been meeting more Americans, so maybe it's becoming more common.
Yeah.
Where do I start?
I remember you told me a story about how you end up here. It's quite interesting for me too. That it's just very random for you to choose.
Oh, that's right.
Be in Bali because you were, rounding a globe. You call it a globe?
No, I was just on Google Maps.
Yeah, it was Google Maps. It's not like a real globe.
Yeah, I think I was just on Google Maps, and I've been saving for a trip for a while. I didn't know what I was saving for, but I knew I was going to take a big trip.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to go somewhere I've never been, and I want to go to an area that is far away and remote to me, that's really different.
Yeah.
I wanted to experience something new, and so I was just looking at Google Maps, looking for remote places or places far from where I've ever been, and somehow my finger landed around, or my cursor, I guess it wasn't my finger.
I was thinking,
don't touch your computer screens. It was my cursor. It landed on Bali, and I started looking at some pictures, just some Google pictures of Bali, and then I got sucked into like Instagram or Pinterest or something, and I was just like, this place is beautiful. And I found out that there's surfing, like 365 days a year, and not many places can say that.
And you were into surfing that time.
Yeah,
have you tried it before?
I had tried it a few places, and I really, really wanted to give myself a chance to learn it.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is cool. I can take a long trip here. And I guess long story short, the more I looked into Bali, taking a trip there, the longer I wanted to stay because it was so far away, and it's really, really affordable to live and stay in Bali. Yeah. So I ended up just deciding to quit my job and move to Bali. I had started freelancing online, and I was like, this is my chance to make it work. Yeah. Because it's hard to get started in something like that in the U.S. with the living costs. So I thought, okay, I'll be knocking this off of my bucket list, giving myself a chance to learn how to surf. I'll be traveling, and I'll give myself a chance to build up my business and work on my skills for freelancing.
But how about the income? Because I know so many people want to travel and want to move to other place, but they're quite anxious about how they overcome, how can they survive, or how can they have like decent amount of stable income, or at least like monthly income for them to survive in one place, even in the most affordable place in the world. People still need to think about like how they can live. How did you start with the freelancing? Did you do it before, or?
Yeah, actually, I did start freelancing probably, I want to say about a year. It might have been a little longer before I moved to Bali. Yeah. I didn't really think
was it online? How did you get into it?
Yeah, it was all online. I was just trying to make. I didn't even think about having an online career. It would never even crossed my mind, but I started to experiment around, try to see if I could earn money online. Yeah. I didn't even think it was real. I didn't think you could actually earn money online.
Was it Upwork that you started?
Yeah. I started with Upwork. Yeah. Well, no, I didn't start with Upwork. It was Elance at the time.
Oh, yeah.
So I started with Elance, and I got some really crappy writing jobs that paid almost nothing. But I was excited because I was actually making money online. I was like, okay, this is real. It's not a scam. Okay, it's a little bit of a waste of time right now, but
just building your portfolio.
This is going somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. So I built up my confidence, and I built up my prices over time as I built up my confidence, and that ended up leading me to where I am now, which is actually working more in podcasting. I still do some writing, but I mainly work in podcast production and marketing, which I really love.
Yeah.
I think it's more fun. I still love writing, but I kind of got burnt out through those early Upwork and Elance days.
That's okay. Now that you've kind of like settled down with your freelance work, not settled down, kind of like stable with your freelance work, how long you have been living in Bali and have been working on that? Have been living in Bali as a freelancer? Yeah.
I've been in Bali for a little over a year and a half, I think.
Yeah.
And
longer than me. I was just been here for
just
1 year.
Yeah,
exactly 1 year.
I win. Come
on.
No, it's just been a little over a year and a half. I can't believe it because it's gone so fast.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
But now, like, you kind of like really adjust with living in Bali. I saw you on your Instagram that you like to buy street food, and then you're really comfortable with the way, with, like, traffic in Indonesia is not that easy to navigate. So you kind of like, know how to cross the street and know how to learn how to drive a motorbike here.
Yeah, that was quite an adjustment for me.
Yeah.
One of the biggest challenges for me moving to Bali was actually riding a motorbike. I was really scared. It gave me anxiety. I'm not really an anxious person, but I feel like that gave me anxiety. Just because the traffic is pretty crazy, and I had only driven cars before, so I just felt very open and exposed.
And it's different side from the US, isn't it?
It is the opposite side, yeah. So that was definitely a challenge, but I mean, it is so worth it because now I'm more comfortable with it, and it's you feel free when you're just biking down the road, like especially up when you get out past the traffic and you're heading towards Ubud or towards Tanalat, or once you get into
directions. And you don't know directions, like, exactly.
Oh, I'm so bad at directions.
Listen to the Google Maps.
Yeah, I'm horrible at directions. That's another stressful thing about it. But, just getting lost in Bali can be pretty beautiful. Unless you're in the city, then it might be not as fun.
But you always just end up in this restaurants or, like, beautiful traditional houses and small lanes where they have, like, beautiful Hindu decorations and stuff. So, I kind of like to get lost, especially to the south. No, not to the south, to the north, to around Ubud or Gianyar and other areas of Bali.
The villages are just beautiful. You just want to stop everywhere and take pictures because it's unreal. It's real, which makes it even cooler. It's not fake. It's not just for tourists.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. Even in the south, when I get lost sometimes, I end up seeing these cafes I never saw before. I'm like, oh, interesting. Maybe I should try it too.
So I'm full of anxiety when I get lost, and you're like, oh, it's a cafe. This is how you handle it, people. This is how you handle it, Bob.
So anyway, you've been here for almost 2 years now. How does it feel to live far away from family, friends, and you have a boyfriend too back in the US, and we met last time, and you've been like long distance for a long time.
Yeah.
due to this as well. Like, how does it feel to live very far from your loved ones?
That's a hard one because I love to travel. I've always loved to travel. My parents taught that to me from a young age. Like, they always had me traveling, so I'm a very independent person. And I love to adventure, so it's kind of just what I do. As far as it goes with my boyfriend in the long-distance relationship, we have been long-distance because he's in the military, or he was in the military. So we were long-distance anyway, so I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do this in my life, am I gonna take this big trip or move out of the country for a while, this is the time to do it because we're long distance anyways, and we got this. We've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, true.
So
it was not really very different. It's not a lot of adjustment because you've been doing it anyway, so it's just the distance. Like
the time difference is a little bit rough. And it is hard seeing each other less, definitely. It is hard. But he came out to visit, which was really nice. And then, like, just my friends and family have all, not everybody, but a lot of people have come out to visit. That's a great thing about Bali as well. It's really not that hard to convince people to come visit you.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
very
kind
true.
of like home has come to me. I don't feel like I'm that far away from home when people are coming to me.
Right. In fact, it also applies to me. I think I met more old friends and families, distant families in Bali rather than I'm in my hometown or somewhere else, because it's the holiday destinations. People always have a reason to come to Bali to relax, and they have more time when they're here because they come to Bali mostly for holidays or just relaxing, so they give you a time to just like talk to you in a quality time, in a quality manner, and it's just nice and hang out with you. It's so different when, like, for instance, you're at home and people are like busy with their schedules and their work and everything and responsibilities. So it's very nice. It's in Bali.
Yeah, everyone that comes, you get to go like explore with them.
Yeah,
you get to make these really cool memories and share beautiful things with them. Yeah, and it really, I think it strengthens relationships actually. So it's not that bad.
Yeah, true. And
it's not bad at all, actually.
It's not bad at all. I like living in Bali. So, we mentioned before about the things about the traffic, which is not your most favorite things in Bali. But what is your most favorite things in Bali? What do you like the most about Bali?
The food. Okay, no, I should say the surfing. The surfing first, because that's what I'm here for. Yeah. Close second is the food. I'm so in love with Indonesian food. I'm a relatively picky eater, so I was scared that I was going to come here and not like any of the food, and that I would miss food from home. But I mean, the beauty of Bali is, if I'm ever craving Western food, they have Western food.
Sure, yeah.
They have food from all over the world in Bali. It's really easy to find. But I mean, I'm also lucky because I love Indonesian food. I don't know if that's even lucky. That's just, Indonesian food is just really good. They do a great job with spices and flavoring, and I've never really liked a food so much, and so many different types of dishes too, like Padang food, nasi Padang, I should say, and what's my favorite? Ayam betutu. So good. Rembulan. I could go on forever. Stop me now.
Stop.
Cut me off. It is your turn, Olivia. Let me interrogate you. So, can you tell these lovely listeners where you're from, and I guess a little bit about your home, like your hometown?
Yeah,
I think it's really interesting. A lot of people might not be familiar with it.
Yeah. So I'm Indonesian, but I'm not from Bali. I'm originally from Sumatra. I was born in a small tourist town in the highland of North Sumatra. It's called Brastagi. It's very beautiful. It's touristy too, but not as touristy as Bali. Many people come there for like weekend getaway, and it's cold. It's I think it's like 1,500 meters above sea level, so it's quite cold.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it has like a
Indonesia can be cold.
It's not that cold as in like in winter, but it's, for me, like 20 degrees already cold compared to like daily
Celsius.
We have this. Yeah, Celsius. We do Celsius here compared to like daytime here.
That is pretty cold.
Normal like 30 degrees during the daytime in Indonesia, or like even above 30, 32, 35.
I just know that I don't know much Celsius, but I do know that my air conditioning is usually set to around 26, and that's cool.
That's cool enough, right?
So if it's around 20,
and
pretty chilly.
We have surprisingly we have many 4 or 5 stars hotels there, and also amusement parks.
What's the name of your town?
It's called Brastagi.
Brastagi, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, it's still popular these days among Indonesian, also among our neighbor countries like Singapore and Malaysia. They come there often for like just chilling for the weekend.
It's kind of a local vacation spot.
Yeah, but also for foreigner too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Because I grew up seeing, as I say, I grew up seeing tourists, and that's how I learned English. My mom just put me in the lesson, and then just like push me to just talk to like random tourists. And not my mom pushed it, but my teacher pushed it to just talk to random tourists. I'm like curious.
That's funny.
Yeah,
so, that reminds me because we're out on the beach a lot of the time, especially in Kuta Beach. You'll just be sitting there hanging out, and all of a sudden this group of school kids will come and surround you, and they're so cute and usually so shy, and they're all supposed to be asking you questions, but only one is asking questions and interviewing you. It's so cute. And then once you start answering questions, they all come up to you and start asking.
Yeah.
But it's a great way to learn English.
I think so. Like, just
really
expose
smart.
yourself out there.
No one can say no to cute little faces.
Oh, of course. And then, I just moved around. I moved to Jakarta for my study, and then I also moved to Australia for a few years, and it was last year that I decided to come back to Indonesia. I was doing my master degree in Canberra in Australia, and I was like, I miss Indonesia so much. I miss the food the most.
You're gonna say that.
So then I'm like, what am I going to do after I graduate? Maybe I'll go back to Indonesia. But I was so specific back then. I want to be in Bali because Bali is so different with the rest of Indonesia. People here, they're more liberal, and it's like a melting pot, as you mentioned before, of people all around the world. And it's a lot of beautiful spots here, and it's not hard to get around with bike or by car. You can go to mountains, to rivers, to waterfalls, to beaches, cliffs, and a lot of options of restaurants, cafes, bars, nightlife, and also just a small room, which is like a street food. So, so I just like look online a job which is suitable with my interest and my background of career, because
what do you do?
I'm an environmentalist, so my background of career is like helping government or NGOs or private sectors on environmental policy and development policy as well. So I look at the internet and I found this job, an NGO which headquarters is in Belgium, and I apply online when I was in Canberra, and luckily they accept me, and I'm like, okay, send my stuff all to Bali, all the way to Bali. I'm so ready, pumped up, and that's how I end up. As a job that's suitable with my career and my study.
Are you enjoying that job so far? So I feel like you're always taking trips, and I'm always stalking your Instagram stories whenever you go on a work trip.
Yeah.
Those are air quotes that I'm using.
Yeah.
Because it looks way too fun to be a work trip.
I know.
Way too beautiful, at least.
Yeah, I feel so like it too, because the job allows me to travel a lot around Indonesia, especially in the eastern part of Indonesia, in Flores, the island next to Bali. Not next to Bali, there's an island, Lombok, next to Bali.
It's a few islands away.
And then another island in Flores. Yeah, it's a neighbor island thing, right? And also to Raja, which is another interesting tourist destinations in Indonesia, and to Sulawesi Island pretty much, and to Jakarta every now and then. So my job is pretty much advocating and helping farmers for commodities, cocoa, cinnamon, rice, and seaweed. Yeah, seaweed is new commodities, but we also have cocoa, cinnamon, coffee. Yeah, coffee.
Oh, yeah.
And then
that's right. You gave me a bag of coffee.
Yeah. And I help farmers, helping them with general environmental practice, good agriculture practices, and helping them selling their products abroad and also within the country in Indonesia.
That's really cool. That kind of stuff is so important here, especially with the development going on. Just like any kind of developing country, it's so important to have groups like yours that are going in and consciously, helping people make a sustainable living, bring back meaningful things, not just rely on tourism. I mean, tourism is great too, but it's good to have a balance there. It's really cool what you guys are doing.
Yeah, thank you. I like what I'm doing.
That's really good. Not many people can say that, actually.
Yeah.
So, what have been some adjustments you've had to make living in Bali? Has there been anything difficult when living here? Anything that's been hard?
No, it's just at the beginning I had this they call it reverse culture shock. It's just when you live abroad for quite some time and you get used to it, the customs there, and then when you get back to your own culture, you kind of like not used to again with how it was before. And then you just need to like readjust with it. But now I'm settled. I'm fine. I used to like drink water on tap, and in Indonesia you can't really do it because it's not clean water. You have to drink it from a bottle of like
purified water.
So
or else you'll get you some Bali belly.
Otherwise you get the Bali belly. And at the beginning also I still had the Bali belly, so I need to have this activated carbon. Yeah.
Definitely have that on stock. Activated carbon, people.
Yeah. Definitely. Because I love street food, but I always end up having that problem.
Really?
At the beginning, the first and 2 months.
Yeah, I guess you have to get used to it.
Yeah.
All right, so enough about that Bali belly stuff. Let's talk about what you like most about living in Bali.
Well, I like the fact that I can order a food 24 hours.
So you're basically giving a shout out to Gojek.
Well, yeah, I think that's the best invention of the 21st century.
Gojek is amazing.
Exaggerating, but it's my own opinion.
I wish I could bring Gojek back with me to the US.
Oh no, maybe they can like expand to that market.
I'm gonna kidnap some Gojek drivers. Bring them home with me.
For those who doesn't know about Gojek, it's an app where you can order a motorbike taxi in here in Bali, because most people here drive with motorbike.
It's a lot faster.
And we have really limited public transportations in Bali, so it's easier for you. If you don't know how to drive motorbike, you can just order it through this application called Gojek. But it's more than just motorbike taxis.
So much more.
You can order food 24 hours. They can deliver to you with pretty decent price. And you can order massage. You can go for cleaner. You can go.
They go grocery shopping for you.
Shopping and pretty much.
By the way, we're not sponsored by Gojek.
Maybe we should ask them just later on.
We love
That's what I like.
I love you, Gojek.
24 hours of food. I love eating, so I think that's the best. Well, it's mostly in other part of Indonesia too, but Bali has a lot of food, so it's easier to order food through Gojek as well.
There's just more options.
Yeah, there's more options on it. So yeah, other than that, I like going out to a good dinner and good food elsewhere too, not necessarily at home.
Anything that involves food.
Yeah, is good food. It's
good food. Okay, not bad food.
Yeah, and what? Not bad food. Come on. And also, like, just to see the sunset is so beautiful in Bali.
It never gets old.
It never gets old. Everywhere, there are a lot of beaches where you can see sunset and just chill and sit down and relax with your friends with a beer or a coconut on your hand. So it's so super, super nice here.
Amen to that. The vibes are good. So I think people will be interested to hear what you're working on, other than not just what you do for a living, but also you are working on some stuff. Oh, you're always working on something. But what are you currently working on? What's your project? I think it's kind of cool.
Right now, my project is, I'm working on my book right now. It's about traveling because that's the thing I know the most.
You've been to a lot of countries.
I went to many countries.
You've been around the globe.
I went around the globe. Went to around 30-something countries, so 37 if I'm mistaken.
What's your book about?
So, yeah, I'm trying to write a book. I wrote a book.
You wrote it?
Yeah, I wrote a book.
Did it?
About inspirational to travel, especially for young Indonesian women, to be specific, because I think a lot of way for us to travel out there, but there's people still have this thing in their mind that travel is expensive or it's hard or dangerous. But I wanna empower people out there, especially women, that traveling is bringing you more positive than negative. Trust me, because it opens your mind, it gives you a new perspective, it makes you have more friends, it makes you taste different culture and make you be more tolerable and stuff. A lot of good things. So I also want to just write my memoir about my travel, because I have so many good stories that I want to share to people, and it's good just to put it in one book and people know how I get inspired through my traveling. And so it's gonna be out in October.
Okay.
Yeah, people can pre-order on my website. Working on it.
We'll leave a link in the show notes.
Yeah,
so you can find it if you're interested.
Yeah. By the way, I also know that you're also working on projects, because people here in Bali, they like to be productive.
Yeah.
What is your project?
Right now, I'm kind of turning my freelancing work into a business. So I just started a little baby business online, and it's called Inspired Presents.
Inspired Presents.
So if you want to go check it out,
we'll put a link too.
Link will be in the show notes.
So now we just want to summarize what the podcast is about.
This would be the perfect podcast for you, especially if you're interested in visiting or moving to Bali, if you want to possibly start a business, be a digital nomad, work online, or work in sustainability, or if you're just interested about life in Bali
in general,
exploring in Bali, we'll have a lot of insight from us, but mostly from our guests, because we're going to be interviewing a lot of really, really interesting people that have just kind of fascinated us. So we want to share them with you, and they'll have a lot of good tips and tricks for you.
Yeah, that's very true. Also, we have already a lineup of interesting guests coming your way, including
a startup coach, sustainable business consultant, a spiritual guru, a Bali wedding planner, a business developer of locally sourced natural products, an inspirational writer, and much
more.
We have some really interesting interviews coming for you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, our final question. The most important question.
Yeah, we're gonna keep.
Maybe not, but
it's important for us.
It is important.
We're gonna keep it as our tradition, so we're gonna always ask this question to all our interviewers.
So, what's your favorite spot in Bali, Olivia?
Me first. Okay. I'm going to be blunt to our audience now. I like to hang out at night, so you know. So, when I first moved to Bali, I like to spend time in, dancing on the dance floor with my friends. So, a lot of nice places in Seminyak. So, I go to this place called La Favela. It was when I first moved to Bali. Sometimes I still go there. And I also go to Rumors, which is a restaurant or a late night bar next to La Favela. That was and still kind of my favorite place, other than What about you, Sarah?
Right now, a personal favorite is a cafe called Inca.
Yeah. What do you like about it?
The atmosphere is really nice, and I get really productive when I'm there.
Yeah.
They have really good green curry.
Yeah,
so
you
that's
keep
nice
asking
too.
like green curry all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and their parking staff is really nice. They're just nice. It's a good experience every time when I'm working.
Yeah,
it's a nice
the
place to hang out and
is
just chill.
Yeah, because you work online and you're not really working from co-working space. You work from cafes or like.
Sometimes I use co-working spaces.
Yeah,
it depends.
Yeah, it depends. But like lately, because you don't.
I really
like it. Yeah. It's good for people who like work too. Online, they can stay there for a long time and just
But if you stay there for a long time, always order stuff. Don't be that person.
Yeah.
Sitting there with one coffee for 8 hours. Support your local cafe. So yeah, Inca's awesome. And then another favorite spot in Bali. There's so many. I don't know how to choose, but maybe Lembongan Island. Just the island in general. Go to Lembongan. It's beautiful.
It's a small island next to the
tiny. It's actually considered part of Bali. So if you're like, that's not Bali. It is, actually. They consider themselves part of Bali. Yeah. It's just a tiny little island off the coast of Bali.
Right. Yeah.
It's a really quick short. It's a really short little boat ride over there. It's
fast boat, it takes 20 minutes.
And sometimes you'll see dolphins. Yes. And there's manta rays. Yeah. There's cliffs. Yeah. The water is like turquoise blue.
I love it.
It's incredible.
Too. Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Should go again.
I could go there all the time. Let's go. Let's go right now.
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, and it's 5 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, you're so boring. We can just swim.
Come on, Sarah. We're not going to arrive there.
Okay, we're not swimming to Lembongan. I'm way too scared for that. So yeah, I guess that's all we have for you today, and we hope you keep listening. We have some great episodes coming your way.
Wait for it.
If you want to know a little bit more about the Living in Bali podcast, you can check out our podcast website and blog. We'll post some notes about the show and any links to things that we talk about.
The website is www.livinginbalipodcast.wordpress.com. And if you have questions, suggestions, comments, or would like to collaborate, just send us an email to podcastbali@gmail.com. We'd like to hear from you. Yeah. Bye.
We really hope you found some inspiration, learned something new, or at least had a laugh.
If you enjoyed the Living in Bali podcast, please leave us a rating and review on iTunes so other people can find us.
Thank you so much for listening to our show.
Till next time.